Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Well, we'll go back to the Occupy BoG demonstration. It was scheduled to have taken off at some point, but the decision was made by the NDC through their leader that they should suspend the demonstration and deal with the matter of the limited voter registration. So now they are back and they are mobilizing for Occupy BoG, which is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, October 3rd. Like I said, I'll start with lawyer Beatrice Annan.
Thank you very much, Senator. It's important to respond to some very erroneous and simplistic analysis that Kwame has made, and it's important I correct those impressions.
You are not correcting them, you are just stating your
First of all, the NDC is not complicit. I do not know which data Kwame is speaking to or which views he has sampled to come to the conclusion that the NDC is complacent. We have stated time and again that the NDC will not win this election on the weaknesses and the shambolic performance of the NPP, but we will win this election on our own strength and track record. And so that assertion that the NDC is complacent, maybe I want to believe that it's coming from a good place, that he is also tired of the hardship and is expecting the NDC to come back. And so in that quest to see the NDC back, he makes that assertion. And that is the only basis on which I'll forgive him. Now, the second erroneous impression he sought to create was that because President Mahama has been in power before, he had some baggages, and that we must speak to the baggages. He doesn't know why we are, running away from the baggage, and he gave the example of doing so. Dear Kwame Danso, the challenges of a country are not baggages of the president. What we expect leaders to do is that we have numerous challenges as we speak as a nation. We vote for leaders to come and solve. And so when you have a president in power who came to meet Dumso at a time when the NPP solution was to invite pastors to go and pray at the Akosombo, and he came to bring in excess of 2,500 megawatts, it cannot be his baggage. And so do not fall for the NPP narrative that because you have a visionary leader like John Mahama, they vilified him. Let's say that these are his baggages. Then if it were so, then the baggage in the health sector, which President Mahama was on the vision of building over 6,000 bed hospital, what do you say? That the man in 4 years built more hospitals than anybody, even this government, in 8 years. It is not his baggage. Leaders come and meet challenges and they solve. So if a leader was not as hypocritical as Addo, and he has taken responsibility and said that I came to meet this challenge, I will solve it, it cannot be his baggage. And it is because of the likes of Kwame Danso that Addo has become irresponsible, because under the NPP they are not responsible for anything, because they know that when they take responsibility, you have people who say they are neutrals, who will say they are their baggages. But a leader's ultimate responsibility, for want of a better expression, is to take responsibility for the challenges you came to meet, own up and solve them. So that is not his baggage. What we are having is that we are going into an election with a president who had an election before him and had the benefit of printing money to the tune of 80 billion like this government has done, and still said that you do not run a country that way. There will be hyperinflation, people will lose their job, the economy will be upset, and so I will do zero Bank of Ghana financing. So President Mahama's crime is only that he's a visionary leader who is committed to doing the right thing. And finally, Kwame is saying that if the NDC does not appoint or does not maintain the female running mate, he will campaign in his capacity as what? See, Kwame is
You're
not
also discounting the consensus.
No, please let me speak. I didn't interject you. I didn't interject you.
Let her speak. I'll come to you, Kwame.
Kwame is not the one to tell the NDC who should be our running mate.
And that is the minister of NDC.
Is that how the show is? So you keep quiet. I make my point.
Beatrice, please.
Yes. And the NDC, we know our left from our right. The NDC has won power. The NDC has lost power. We know how to win power. We know what is good. In any case, is Kwame the one to come and tell President Mahama the strength and weaknesses of a woman who nobody knew until he made her a Minister of Education, and she performed so excellently well that President Mahama himself chose her as the running mate. And so don't give the wrong impression that the NDC or President Mahama only uses women. I am a classical example of President Mahama's commitment and belief, not just in young people, but in women. When President Mahama was going into a very crucial election, and he needed someone to speak for him, as eloquent as he is, he chose me, a young woman. My direct boss, Joyce Bauer, is a woman, and 2 women were speaking for him. So if it comes to a leader's commitment to championing the agenda of women, I don't think anybody comes close to President Mahama. And that record let that be on record. And if even she is maintained, it is not because of Kwame's MP threat. The NDC has a strategy. The NDC cannot put its strategy in the public domain, and so merely because you do not know what is going on, you cannot assume nothing is going on, and that point has to be made. Now back to the Occupy BoG.
You have 6 minutes.
Oh, then I have a lot of time.
Oh, I thought she had about 2 minutes so that you can...
No, I control the time.
Yes,
you have 6 minutes.
So back to the Occupy BoG. So now, we live in a country where the lives and livelihoods of everybody except the people in the Dankwabuzia tradition is threatened. We are actually at a crossroad. We are at a place where young people in this country cannot even tell what happens in 1 week. And what do we have? We have a president who is operating like a monarch, who is operating like an Arabian king, that even the central bank will have to just print currencies to suit his whims and caprices if it makes him happy. And today we are being told that the BoG has printed in excess of 80 billion cedis. And so now what is more depressing about the situation is that the Bank of Ghana itself is telling us that out of that 80 billion that has been printed, more than 30% of that money is outside the traditional banking system, which means that ministers of state are hoarding those monies in their bedrooms. At least we have a classical example of Cecilia Dapa. It took the house help. It appears that it is more lucrative to be a house help in the homes of a minister than to be a lawyer, than to be an engineer, than to be a journalist or any other profession in the world. Because some people can practice as lawyers for 100 years and they will never get to make $1 million. But house helps of ministers of states can make millions of dollars even without the knowledge of the ministers. So these monies are in the homes of government officials and cronies, and to quote Alan Chermante, unscrupulous people hijacking their party. They are in their homes. And so when on Tuesday we are asking young people to come out, we are saying that this is a national assignment. And this is not an NDC or a partisan matter. In this BoG, Occupy BoG, every political party in Ghana, or almost every political party that has some kind of clout is part, except the MPP. Most CSOs are part, because you see, I keep saying that when it comes to the issue of hardship, it does not discriminate on the basis of partisanship. When Solo and I get to the filling station, they will not ask us for our party color. Oh, now he's partyless. But until then, they will not ask us for our party colors. They will not ask us for our party card. And so this is not a partisan issue. We are in a country where the government has borrowed so much that debts to GDP is above 105%. We are in a country where inflation is above 40%. So now, the Ghana Statistical Service just released a certain report saying that more than 1.5 million people between the ages of 15 to 24 years do not have access to any form of education, any form of employment or training. We are being told that in addition to the economic mess that currently exists, more than 850 people have been pushed down the poverty line again. This is a wake-up call. This is a call for every person devoid of a political coloration and your sympathies to join the organizers so that we can send a very strong signal to the president. Because you see, this president has checked out. It's as though now he's living his self-actualization needs, drinking the most expensive wine, flying the most expensive private jet, wearing all the 9 shoes he couldn't wear in opposition, although some of the clothes don't look so fantastic on him, but he tries to wear them anyway. He has checked out. A president who told us that unless a new leader comes, we are on our own. And so I'm told the electric chair too is fault. That is why at the recent UN conference, the electric chair could not do its work. The president cannot be sleeping away the destiny of young people in this country. The president and the Bank of Ghana governor cannot just put away all sound economic principles and be printing money at the expense of the well-being of the country. And so this is not an NDC matter. The inflation is affecting all of us. The unemployment is affecting all of us. These days, I even have a joke that when people have cases, they give it to God because they can't even afford the services of lawyers again. So they just go to church and pray about it. That is the kind of nation that we are left with. And so I call on every young person, old, because even the people on pension, this president has taken their money through haircuts. You are printing money for yourselves, and your own people, you know, if the president was not a president, he would have been on pension. His mates cannot afford drugs for diabetes. His mates cannot take care of their children. He has given duty-free shop to his children, has made some of them board chairs, has given some of them money to operate restaurants. He lived all his life till 70 years. He could not set up his children until he became president. All other children in the country, and we also have parents, we also deserve better. And so I call on all Ghanaians on Tuesday to join the Occupy Bank of Ghana protest so that together we can register our displeasure and say that enough of the mismanagement, enough of the profligacy, enough of the insensitivity, and enough of how this president wants to destroy the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right on time. So also you have 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yes, please.
So Beatrice had 10 minutes, right? No worries. First of all, let me quickly deal with some few matters that came out of Beatrice's submission. Now it is clear to me that Ghanaians have to take Mr. Alanchamanti very serious because clearly there is no alternative in NDC. There is no alternative because the policies that the NDC intends to implement includes a 24-hour economy. What is 24-hour economy? Nobody knows what it is. That people are,
so I'll tell you.
You never explained anything there. So clearly, Ghanaians must not even think of when you are given the ballot. You must locate where Mr. Alanchamanti's face will be and vote for him because he has shown his policies that he intends to implement. Again, he said they are going to scrap the S-gratia. How does that reduce the unemployment? Is that a policy that the noise, the mad talked about policy that the NDC intends to bring to deal with the myriad of problems? Do they really understand what the people of this country are going through? Hey, the youth are not getting jobs to do. And this is not one of the issues that they are interested in. And then he said the NDC will not run a family and friends government. If the NDC is going to run a family and friends, and it will solve the unemployment problem, what is the big deal about it? Is it something that the party must be telling us at this stage? In any case, if in an unlikely event that the former President Mahama becomes the president, which is not even, it's never going to happen, and he appoints Beatrice, is President Mahama not appointing Beatrice because she is a friend? If he appoints Honorable Minister, is he not appointing because he's a friend? So we cannot be going on it time. The real issues are there. And what Beatrice has done this morning tells me that the NDC has no business being in government again. Kwame Osudanso just decided to play the devil's advocate here by identifying the problems with the National Democratic Congress. I was thinking my sister would just accept it in good faith and say we will work on it. Rather, you know what she did? Was to take Kwame on the rope of discrediting what he has said here. And for me, it tells those power, the forces of change, to look to the movement of change and look to Mr. Alan Chamante, who has the heart to accept all criticisms in good faith. Now, we come to the BoG. One of the reasons why I still believe the country is going where or heading to where it is because we have a very weak opposition party, an extremely weak opposition party, a very unpatriotic opposition party in the NDC, a party that does not believe in the rule of law. What does this whole business of occupying Bank of Ghana means? Some of us started calling on the minister, the president, to remove the governor of Bank of Ghana about 3 or 4 years ago, together with the finance minister. Some of us followed it up by writing a petition, though I was in the MPP then, to the Parliament of Ghana and to the minority that do this country a favor. If my former party MPs were not going to we're going to approve the finance minister, you as the opposition members of parliament, you have done so well by having a hung parliament. Do not approve the finance minister. What did they do as members of the National Democratic Congress? They gladly went and approved the finance minister. Now the governor of Bank of Ghana, whom I believe have to be sacked, he has no business. If he really knew what shame is, he should not even be there. But the man has been emboldened to stay in office because the opposition National Democratic Congress that is supposed to act and act rightly are behaving otherwise. The constitution of the land, and I'm very happy we have 2 lawyers on this set, shows clearly how you can remove the governor of Bank of Ghana. It also shows you that the governor of Bank of Ghana is supposed to present his report, or is supposed to be audited by the Auditor General's report, office, and the report submitted to the Parliament of Ghana. When last did you hear the opposition members of Parliament that wants the world to believe that all of a sudden there has to be a demonstration, call the governor of Bank of Ghana by way of interrogating the Auditor General's report to say that you have done ABCD? Or why is it that the opposition party is not even petitioning the president to kickstart the removal process from office? Because the mere fact that you go and do demonstration, and so after the demonstration, then what next? Is it just to embark on keep fit or something? We cannot continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And that is why there is a third force in Alan Chamate, because we don't intend to go this route. He wouldn't have been appointed in the first place, let alone allow the opposition to even go and do any demonstration. But we must be responsible opposition members. That is why, as a member of the Movement for Change, I intend to petition the president to kickstart this whole issue of removing the governor from the office. It is not about going on demonstration that will save or do anything to what is already happening, but rather making sure that the governor of Bank of Ghana is removed. The governor of Bank of Ghana is responsible for ensuring the stability of the currency. On that alone, and that formed the basis of my petition. He has no business whatsoever being at post. What is the currency situation now? How can the governor convince me that when the MPP that was priding itself that it was able to maintain the stability of the currency, took it at 4.2, and it is now hovering around 12, and you tell me that you are supposed to collecting your salary every month. So that will form the first basis for which I would call for his removal. Again, you know, when you go to the port, the exchange rate that they adopt is different from what you and I would pay at, say, the open market. Now, if you go there, they are using the bank rate, the commercial bank. That's what duty levels have gone up astronomically. Is it the case that that instruction came from the Governor of Bank of Ghana, or the Minister of Finance, or the presidency? So these are the issues that the minority must help this country. But on the contrary, see, 3 people go and gossip. 3 police officers, 2 high-ranking police officers, together with a reckless party member, go and gossip about how to get out an IGP. And there is a committee that has been formed with cameras on them every day. They spend man hours discussing a gossip or lobbying. But I have not heard both the NDP members of parliament and the NDC members of parliament call for an inquiry as to why the Governor of Bank of Ghana has told the whole nation that they have incurred a debt of 60 billion cedis. That we could listen to the Governor of Bank of Ghana. There is no committee like that. It seems we major in the minors in this country. So on Tuesday, they are going to put innocent souls on the street, the youth that are already unemployed. But I want to call on the youth of Ghana to listen and listen to me good. In the past, you had no alternative. In the past, you did not have a credible leader that you could trust. So you were only alternating. But thankfully, you now have a leader in Alan John Kojo that you do not need to go and waste the limited energy you have, but rather the forms are available, the movement for change forms, that volunteers are being recruited across the length and breadth of this country to go to the hinterlands and send a message of hope. And that if you are going to put your trust in these 2 leading political parties that are only doing semantics, one is saying 24-hour economy, you are going to scrap ex gratia. He said we should rely on the 2020 manifesto, which manifesto was only talking about constructing mortuaries.
That's not true.
Yes, that mortuary is there. I'll point it out to you.
You said it was only. That's not accurate.
That is what I saw.
No, it was only.
But, so I should change the...
Please, you can talk about it as part of
it. Since when did you start coming into this program? You were here when
where you say something that is clearly inaccurate. When you say only. That's not true.
So let me edit that bit.
So,
which manifesto contain a provision such as providing mortuary? Then where lies the hope? Come home, join the movement, and let us save this country. Because in the movement has a clear-cut policy that is going to provide you with agriculture, the revolution in the agriculture sector, which has the potential of absorbing most of these youth. In this revolution has industrialization that is going to absorb the teeming youth. In this revolution has discipline. In this revolution we intend to cut down on the size of government, which we have stated clearly. And in this revolution, what is that?
It's okay.
You are running away.
Please.
So in this revolution has availability of capital to be extended to the private sector, especially to the youth, to improve on their business. Because our focus is on the private sector and nothing else. So I will end it here and welcome all of them to our fold.
I always love your focus. Well, I'll go to Kwame. I'll come to you shortly. But before I do that, Dennis Agakwe says, just for emphasis and relative to what KOD said about the formal sector and pension, the current Pensions Act 2008, Act 766, provides for pensions for those in the formal sector, but governments, especially the local government services, have failed to roll out educational programs to make it possible for people in that bracket to take advantage of that law. That is Dennis Agakwe. Just adding to what Kwame was saying, Kipo Elijah Bakari says, President John Dramani Mahama is the first president to appoint a woman as the EC boss. The NDC appointed a Speaker of Parliament and a Shraj boss who were all women. Also, depreciation of our currency and exchange rate do not discriminate against our political affiliation. The country is so polarized that no one wants to be seen acting against the tyranny that engulfed our country. I'm all for Occupy BoG demo. This is, okay, so this is some, okay, Ambassador Sampiali. Oh, Solo. So what happened to your petition? How come your Alan, but why? I'm reading the message and start. No, but you see, once
Ambassador, anywhere I go, he chases me. I will leave the media.
That's a good interest.
Allow him to do whatever he wants.
He said, how come your Alan as a cabinet minister could not get the president to respond to your petition? That's Ambassador Sam Piale. Well, so, Kwame.
Well, thank you very much. I just would like to say that, you know, I'm Ghanaian, you know, and we all want the betterment of this country. Things are bad. I mean, if you engage the young people on the streets, you get to, actually see the frustration in their eyes. And ultimately, there has to be some change in the current circumstances of people. So if I speak passionately about something, it is on the basis, you know, of that. You know, because we all want Ghana to be better. We want to be able to move around and, you know, I don't want to mention the person's name. I'll tell you that one of my friends was robbed. You know the person was robbed. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want us to get to the point where, because of the frustrations of people, they will start breaking into people's cars and things like that. Things are really tough, honestly. Ghana is just tough. So it was on the basis of that. That is why, you know, I fired the NDC. And the reason why I did that,
free to express
absolutely. The reason why, but let me just make the point that the reason why, and it is clear that NDC and the duopoly has been there. It's been perennial, and the only viable alternative, unless something drastic happens, okay, is the NDC. Correct? Because the MPP is in power now. So if there's going to be any change, it has to be the NDC, unless Alan does some magic.
It's never going to be the NDC.
Unless there's some butterfly movement.
It's a it's all right.
Yeah. But Solo, I think Solo's analysis on the Bank of Ghana issue, I believe is unfair to the persons who have decided to embark on this. I think demonstrations are part of nation building, and it is instructive to acknowledge the fact that it is an inalienable right of citizens of this country to assemble, to disagree with policies, with persons who are doing things which things are not, that's not inure to the development and growth of this country. So I think it is wrong for Solo to have said that, oh, is it keep fit? Is it, if you do that, we water down the importance of this exercise. Why this exercise? Okay, the Bank of Ghana and its boss have engaged in a practice, which practice, in the estimation of the minority in parliament and some other civil society organizations, is injurious to the country. And they have decided to express their dissatisfaction about that through a legitimate legal means. I don't know why anybody would want to, have problems with that. The question, and I asked my godfather, Inus of saying that, what is the definition of a security zone. Once you understand the definition of security zone, then you'll be able to understand the justification that the police, is given, for which reason they want to prevent the CSOs and the NDC from demonstrating. That right is you cannot take it away from them. And every time when I submit on these matters, I seek to make the point that the democracy that we are practicing, the democracy that has been this successful, the democracy which is allowing all of us to sit on this channel to speak freely without let or hindrance, was not only built on political parties. It was built on the stills of different things. It was built on the stills of Kabima Mikabi. The ability to speak freely, the ability to demonstrate, the ability to disagree. That is the basis of our democracy thriving. If you take that away, what do you expect people to do? Because if people, they are bottled up emotions, and people are not given an opportunity to voice those emotions out, what do you want them to do? You want them to do coup d'etat? No, we don't want that. So the only avenue that, in my estimation, people can use to demonstrate their dissatisfaction about, whether state institution, parastatal, or government and government agencies, etc., is through some of these things. So we must allow the demonstrators to freely express themselves. That is important. Now, I believe that to better understand why the bottlenecks, if the police is able to come and tell us that this is a security zone because of X, Y, Z, and there's some potential threat to that security zone, then yeah, we're in this country when we had Occupy Flagstaff House. Which place in Ghana is more of a security zone than the seat of government? Honorable, which place in Ghana? But we had people occupy Flagstaff House. Did they bomb Flagstaff House? Did they destroy Flagstaff House? No. At the end of the day, what happened was that democracy was able to excel because people were allowed to demonstrate freely. Of course, there may be some bad bats who, for the purposes of wanting to show that they support one political party, will do all they want to do. I'm talking about in the police and all of that. Some of them, the leaders will not even send them, but they will go and do their own things. Just so they can say that, oh, I was the one who, But in the final analysis, people were allowed to demonstrate during Mohammed's regime. And I think that, it is as a result of these demonstrations, as a result of these agitations, which is why our democracy is growing from strength to strength. We must not take that away. Once we do that, it will be enjoyed. Remember, there was this demonstration by the aggrieved law students or so. Yeah. They faced similar challenges. Recently, Occupy Jolobi House, the guys also faced similar challenges. I think, eventually they were allowed to do the demonstration. But the significance of the route, is incidental to the effect of the demonstration. So if you change the route, you are taking away the significance of it. For instance, the 21st September demonstration, it was symbolic. The date was symbolic. So people do not just pick dates or do not just decide to use specific routes because they want to. It is because of the significance of it. So if you take that away from them, then why are they, yes. So I believe that they must judge, but I also believe that they should allow democracy to play out in ways which will ultimately benefit all of us. Otherwise, then what is this democracy that we are preaching? Do we want people to take the law into their hands? Do we want people to say that because we are upset with Bank of Ghana, and the boss, they will go there and start throwing stones or start? No, we don't want that. They should be allowed to do that. Bear in mind, these are known faces.
Okay.
These are people that we can identify.
Which people?
The people who want to occupy Bank of Ghana. I mean,
everybody that is coming, you cannot.
no. But there's leadership. Are we saying that members of parliament are you saying that members of parliament are irresponsible? You can't say that. Are you saying that the likes of Arise Ghana, the leaders of Arise Ghana are irresponsible? You can't say that. Bernard Bona is not an irresponsible person. Are you saying that? So they will make sure that the people who follow them will act in ways which will not, because obviously they even do not want negative news to mar the relevance of the demonstration. So in the to conclude, I think that we should just allow the demonstration to happen, and the route should not be a hindrance to that demonstration, which ought to happen. It must happen. It must happen because there's enough justification for it.
Thank you. Alaji.
Well, first of all, I think that really very proud of my colleague at the bar and NDC communicator, former spokesperson for John Dramani Mahama during the presidential primaries. I have believed, and when I came in, I did indicate that when people like B3 are on platforms, you don't bring us. That is what NDC stands for. You see, we believe that it's a part of equal opportunity. I mean, if you don't need a godfather. You just need to establish yourself to show that you are a responsible and contributing member of the party. You have something to offer the party. You stand for something. You believe in its values, principles, ideology. The party will shadow you. That's how I came into communication. And that's how you are taken the way we came into the party and imbibing and following the footsteps. I'm sure many will come to you and you will continue to inspire many. For me, leadership is about being honest and accepting responsibility. Kwame, it's about being honest and accepting responsibility. That is why we are going to the Bank of Ghana. Be honest with the people. The Bank of Ghana, and we passed the stage of police allowing us or not allowing us. We're going on demonstration on the 2nd, and we'll go on demonstration on that day. Now, but you need to understand the importance of demonstrations. I mean, if to the 8th February demonstration hadn't happened at the crossroads, probably our independence would have been delayed. If demonstration hadn't happened in 1996, 95, probably that would have been implemented earlier. So if government closes avenues for assessing the way the people feel, the people will have to manifest that, and they do that on the streets. But it is important for you to also know that in 1962, J.F. Kennedy sounded a warning, a caution to leaders when he said, and I quote, "Those who make peaceful revolutions impossible will make them inevitable." Will make violent revolutions inevitable. So, because the people will manifest it. Now, let me come back to explain to our viewers and I'm not a young man, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Because the Bank of Ghana is my bank. And I expected them to manage it with the fidelity that it requires. It's a company. And so the directors have a fiduciary responsibility to manage the bank in such a way that it will continue to inspire confidence in me that the people who are acting on my behalf are acting fairly and responsibly. They're not being reckless. And I do that for generations to come. For those yet unborn. For my children who are growing up, I will be there to participate. And I employ everybody to be there. Why? The Bank of Ghana is a creature of statute. It is a law that established the Bank of Ghana. The primary responsibility of all managers of the bank is to follow the law. Fidelity to the law. And that is why in the amended act to the Bank of Ghana, Parliament of Ghana gave the Bank of Ghana operational independence when they provided in that law, the amended law, that in the performance of its functions, the bank shall not be subject to the control or direction of any body, person, or authority. So the operational independence. Now, what is the role of the Bank of Ghana in our economy? 2, inflation targeting and monetary policy. So when you don't synchronize your inflation targeting and monetary policy, or your monetary policy with inflation targeting, you impoverish many people. Does it come to you as a surprise that the activities of the Bank of Ghana has thrown 850,000 people into poverty? In fact, there is no single person, including those in leadership positions now, who have not been affected by the decisions of the Bank of Ghana. Why? When inflation hits 54.1%, that has a direct impact on your purchasing power parity. Direct. Whether you are the president of the country or you are an ordinary liberal in the streets. So that is why we should not accept this. And why? The Bank of Ghana Act 619 as amended provides the Bank of Ghana is a lender of last resort. So if government goes around including floating bonds on the international capital market and can't get money, it goes to the Bank of Ghana. Because the Bank of Ghana doesn't accept deposits. So the Bank of Ghana has no depositors resources. No. So, but the Bank of Ghana is a lender of last resort. So to lend to government, they necessarily have to do what? To print money. Necessarily. Now, we know that when you print money, economists want to know what? And put it in the system. You provide excess liquidity. And excess liquidity reduces the value of your money. That's the explanation of inflation. That's the so you must adapt monetary policies that will immediately pull back that excess money from the system. If not, you will be breaching one of your responsibilities. Helping manage the economy and provide economic stability. Now, Solomon, I ask, Dr. Addison, you have worked in international bodies. The government was facing difficulty. The law that establishes you says that when you are allowed to lend to government, and it provides a threshold for you and a benchmark in the law. It says don't lend beyond 5%, that is the threshold of the previous year's revenue. That's the benchmark. You see, don't lend. So the least Addison could have done was to lend 5%. The law says that when you get to the 5%, because you have operational independence, take a pen and a paper, write to the Minister of Finance and say, Mr. Minister, by our records, we have lent out 5% of the previous year's revenue to government. We can no longer lend to government because we will not have that authority. And also inform Parliament that you have lent out to government 5% of the previous year's revenue. And you would have complied with the mandate under the law. Why did Addison refuse to do that? Is he a law unto himself? What explanation will explain away the violent breach of the law? The fact that you are taking somebody to the hospital and that fellow is so sick that you are using your private car to convey doesn't justify knocking somebody down at the traffic lights. Doesn't justify that. You are violating the law. And you say that because the country is in a mess, it justifies my violation of the law. That if that is not impunity, I do not know what impunity means. That is just saying that we have decided not to comply with the law and nothing can happen to us. And Nana Akufo-Addo will not act because there was a criminal conspiracy. Because when Nana Akufo-Addo was and his ministers were taking the money, they knew of the existence of the Bank of Ghana Act 619 612 as amended. They knew. They knew that there were limits imposed. They knew. So the minister, neither the minister nor the governor of the Bank of Ghana felt compelled to inform Parliament, the people's representatives. So what do? We let them be there. If Kume, when MPP was not represented in Parliament and embarked on a massive demonstration which led to the suspension of the act of Parliament that was passed and further work on that act, it's possible to go on demonstration and occupy the Bank of Ghana Act and force the hand of Nana Akufo-Addo to act. Okay. Unless he's such a dictator and a tyrant that he will not listen to the voices of the people. Okay. Two, my brother.
I like you. You have to wrap up for me. My time is up.
Well, so my time is up, but I do want to invite everybody that on Tuesday when we go onto the streets, we're not going onto the streets because of political glorification. We're not going into the streets because of the incompetence of the Nana Akufo-Addo, because after the incompetence, recklessness, wastage, corruption, thievery, perfidy is known to everybody. When political institutions decay, when they fail in the performance of their functions, or they refuse to perform their functions as established by law, it is we who suffer. Let's get back. Let's get onto the streets and say that enough is enough. Political institutions must deliver their mandates. Just like some electoral commission. And we'll go back there. We'll go there. After the Bank of Ghana, we're going to the electoral commission. That no institution of state should be allowed to be a law unto itself. No. And we will support any demonstration that seeks to restore political order in this country and not political decay. Thank you.
Well, that's Kwame. Well, a big thank you to Alhaji Yunusa Hussaini, former member of Parliament for Tamale Central, and of course, a big thank you to Beatrice Anan, member of the NDC communication team.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.